Hey guys, let's get real about something important. Alright, fellas, especially if you're over 60, lean in. This one's for you. We need to talk about something nobody else seems to touch: masturbation. Yeah, I said it. And what you don't know about it could be silently zapping your sexual energy. Trust me, I've seen it firsthand. The hidden drain: what's really going on? I've had so many patients come to me, frustrated. Weaker erections, sensitivity that's just gone, and confidence crushed. And it's often because of their self-pleasure habits. Crazy, right? Almost no one talks about this, but for over 20 years, I've been specializing in senior men's sexual health. I help guys like you tackle this very challenge, every single week. This isn't about judging. Masturbation isn't simply good or bad. But here's the kicker: done wrong, it can really mess things up. We're talking strained blood flow, whack hormones, and even feeling emotionally isolated. Done right, though, it becomes a powerful tool for strength. The secret? Technique, timing, and really listening to your body. Your journey to reclaiming vitality starts now. In this video, I'm pulling back the curtain on 6 hidden risks you've likely never heard about. Plus, I'll show you how to totally transform this habit into a health booster. And get this, a natural, 7-second method to reclaim that firmness and drive you've been missing. No pills, no prescriptions, just safe, science-backed steps tailored for your age. Before we dive in, let me know, type 1 if this is hitting home, or 0 if this is all brand new info. We read every single comment, and we will reply personally. Oh, and hit that subscribe button for more honest health strategies for us senior guys. Now, let's uncover the very first risk. It's a sneaky one, targeting your emotional well-being in ways you'd never, ever expect. The silent energy thief: more than just feeling tired. Let's talk about something that feels really private, but needs to be said out loud. There's this silent drain on your energy. It's easy to miss, but it's powerful enough to steal your spark. Especially if you've been using masturbation as a quick fix for stress or boredom. Many older men get caught in this private loop, and it chips away at their strength without them even realizing it. Take Robert, for example. He's a retired engineer, 68. He'd lived a full life, solving complex problems, enjoying woodworking, daily walks. Then, this strange heaviness just set in. His sleep was fine. His meds hadn't changed. But this deep exhaustion just followed him, day after day. When he tried to get back to his projects, he just didn't have it in him. Robert told me, "Doctor, I don't know what's happening. I feel drained every morning, like someone stole my battery overnight. I'm too embarrassed to talk about it." That feeling. That confusion and hidden shame. It's way more common than you think. If you feel anything similar, please know this: it's not a moral failure. It's a health issue, and it deserves respect and understanding. Why you're feeling drained: the cortisol connection. The reason behind Robert's exhaustion ties back to a biological truth most men never learn. When masturbation becomes too frequent, your body can spike cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol puts your whole system on high alert, demanding resources to calm itself down. Over time, your recovery slows, your metabolism struggles, and what used to be a harmless release starts leaving you tired, weak, and emotionally worn down. My take: you deserve to live with strength and confidence. But here's the kicker: this quiet pattern can rob you of both. When masturbation becomes too frequent, that subtle drain doesn't just make you tired. It can spark a slow decline with far-reaching consequences. The domino effect, from fatigue to fading zest. Think about it, fatigue often makes you skip physical activity. Less movement weakens your muscles, shrinks your endurance, and slowly, silently chips away at your heart health and brain sharpness. Each small dip in energy might feel harmless, but together, they build up. They leave you vulnerable to infections, falls, and even losing the independence you never saw coming. Many men believe constant sexual release keeps them young, strong, and vital. That belief is powerful, yes, but it's not entirely true. The reality is, your body's hormonal and metabolic shifts change how it handles sexual release as you age. Instead of charging you up, frequent release can drain the very systems you rely on for stability and health. A smarter approach, moderation is key. There's a smarter way to approach this. Aim for moderation. I'd say about 2 to 3 times a week, at most. This gives your body time to recover. Give yourself rest days between sessions. And support your hormone balance by eating nourishing foods and staying hydrated. Your body endures fatigue, but your brain faces an even deeper threat. Repeated self-stimulation after 60 can actually rewire your reward circuits. It can leave you chasing relief instead of genuinely enjoying it. The brain game, dopamine and your desires. Now, we move from tired muscles to a nervous system that's primed for ever-rising cravings. You absolutely deserve a fulfilling sex life, but you also deserve to understand what dopamine dysregulation can do. Dopamine, that brain chemical responsible for reward, works differently in a mature brain. The receptors that handle dopamine grow less responsive as the years pass. What does that mean for you? You need more stimulation to feel the same spark you once did. The same habits that used to satisfy you might start to feel flat. This drives you to repeat them more and more, just to catch that original satisfaction. When pleasure becomes a requirement, Thomas's story. Take Thomas, a 71-year-old retired high school principal. He lived a life of structure and clear routines. Yet, he described how masturbation stopped feeling like pleasure and turned into a daily requirement. In his own words, it wasn't about pleasure anymore. It felt like I couldn't think clearly until I did it. That scared me because I'd never felt so out of control. This is where the real concern begins. When a private act crosses the line into a daily compulsion that steals your mental freedom, the behavior becomes less about desire and more about silencing a restless craving. It leaves you alienated from your own intentions. Healthy sexual expression absolutely matters at any stage. But once those dopamine-driven urges take over, your control starts to slip. One release becomes a ritual, then multiples each day, pushed by a reward system demanding more and more for the same payoff. This slippery slope happens because your brain actually raises the threshold for what feels rewarding. It's called neuroadaptation, and it locks you into a cycle that gets harder and harder to break. Beyond the bedroom, how this affects your life. When that reward circuit keeps getting triggered by frequent release, the consequences reach far beyond the bedroom. Your motivation for hobbies. It can quietly fade. That spark that made reading, gardening, or fixing things feel rewarding. It grows dull. Your thoughts feel hazy. Attention drifts. And a creeping sense of emotional flatness sets in, like all the color draining out of your daily life. Even if your body still responds, the drive to connect with people often fades. You might find yourself pulling away from friendships, family, from simple human connection. That's the hidden tragedy here. Your brain gets trained to lock its cravings onto one target, sexual release. And all the other joys and rewards you once valued shrink into the background. This process experts call neurochemical hijacking. It's when your reward system starts serving one narrow craving over all other forms of satisfaction. Instead of building a rich, varied sense of pleasure through connection, companionship, or creativity, it funnels all motivation toward a single, repeated act. The cost is high. The world of joy around you narrows until it feels as if release is the only spark left. There's hope, rebuilding your brain's pathways. But here's the good news, there is hope. Your brain has this incredible power called neuroplasticity. It can rebuild healthier reward pathways, no matter your age. Slowing down the pattern can help you regain balance. Try spacing out sessions so at least a day passes between them. Move your body. A walk or gentle workout raises dopamine in a more stable way. Reconnect with a neglected hobby. Pick up that forgotten book. Call someone you trust. If you take these steps, you give your brain permission to relearn a richer pattern of reward. One that celebrates connection, purpose, and creativity. Intimacy means far more than climax alone. It includes sharing your thoughts, enjoying affectionate touch, and building deep bonds. When you allow masturbation to stand alone as your only source of comfort, you risk suffocating these deeper human experiences. These shifts might seem invisible, yet they carry enormous weight. Your heart under strain, a hidden danger. Now that we've exposed hidden changes in your brain, let's talk about a threat you absolutely cannot ignore, your heart under sudden strain. Even a seasoned cardiologist can miss this link between private self-stimulation and dangerous cardiovascular spikes. Frank spent decades managing his high blood pressure. He was disciplined. Took his meds, watched his diet. At 72, he felt confident. But then, out of nowhere, he started experiencing sudden episodes of chest tightness, a pounding heartbeat, and dizzy spells. It didn't fit any pattern, leaving both Frank and his cardiologist scratching their heads. His wife, worried but observant, quietly tracked when these episodes happened. She noticed a link Frank had been too embarrassed to admit: these frightening heart symptoms came on shortly after his private sexual release. The older car analogy, why your heart struggles. Sexual arousal and climax place a unique stress on your cardiovascular system. Heart rate and blood pressure shoot up sharply for a few intense moments, creating a spike that even a steady medication routine may not fully buffer. For men over 60 living with hypertension, diabetes, or any history of heart disease, those brief spikes can push a vulnerable heart past its safe limits. Frank assumed his heart was strong enough because he stayed active. But sexual exertion isn't the same as a brisk walk. During orgasm, your heart can jump 30 to 50 beats per minute, with blood pressure climbing sharply in seconds. A younger person's heart might tolerate those spikes, but an aging, repaired, or stiffened cardiovascular system can struggle. Think of it like an older car. You can drive it safely down a smooth highway, right? But a sudden, forceful acceleration can expose hidden engine weakness. Your heart works the same way. Normal daily movement feels fine, but that quick surge in arousal, even during a solo moment, can trigger dangerous strain. Unlike exercise, which builds gradually and gives your heart time to prepare, masturbation tends to hit the system all at once. The privacy, the secrecy, and the rush of sexual tension can combine into a powerful, unpredictable load on your heart. With no pacing or warm-up, the cardiovascular system gets no warning. And that's where the real risk takes root. Take action, protect your heart. These hidden risks too often stay buried until something goes wrong. And let me tell you, as a doctor, we'd much rather help you manage these issues early than after a cardiac emergency lands you in the hospital. Moderating how often you engage in sexual activity, keeping its intensity reasonable, and being open with your doctor are simple steps that can literally save your life and protect your ability to enjoy sexual health for years to come. There is no reason to feel shame about discussing masturbation or sex with your physician. These topics are a normal part of your health profile, especially past 60. If you ever feel chest discomfort, sense your heart pounding irregularly, notice dizziness, or struggle to catch your breath during or after sexual release, take it seriously. Those symptoms might signal a cardiac problem that needs checking now, not later. A short conversation with your doctor could protect you from a life-threatening event and help you enjoy a safe, satisfying, intimate life with confidence. Your sexual well-being and your heart health are connected. They deserve the same respectful attention as any other part of your health. Mental clarity and emotional balance, more than just a fog. While cognitive impacts can creep in over time, the next concern reveals itself much faster. It affects how you see yourself in the mirror and how you carry confidence through each day. Over-relying on masturbation to manage stress or loneliness can quietly weaken your mental clarity, emotional balance, and even the sharp thinking you've built over decades. Let me share David's story. He's 69, spent years as a trusted accountant. His mind was his greatest asset. But recently, his family noticed he was distracted, unfocused, and detached from the people who mattered most. David described it best himself: "I'd find myself unable to concentrate on anything else. My thoughts would just circle back, and I couldn't focus on conversations with my grandchildren or even finish reading the newspaper." That's not a simple lapse. That's what happens when sexual release takes over as your main coping mechanism. When coping becomes a trap, David's experience. It can start small, after retirement, facing health problems, or losing friends. But gradually, it becomes a stand-in for working through feelings. Older men often move through big transitions all at once, making them more emotionally vulnerable. When masturbation steps in as the easiest comfort, your mind can get stuck in one repetitive loop instead of developing healthier ways to cope. Each time you reach sexual release, your brain rewards you with a hit of dopamine and endorphins that lifts your mood for the moment. But when you depend on that rush repeatedly, your brain loses flexibility, creating a mental fog and a rigid pattern of thinking that chips away at clear focus. Spotting the signs and taking back control. Watch for these warning signs: difficulty concentrating on basic tasks, using masturbation to push away problems, or feeling irritable and anxious if you can't get that sexual release. Some men even start ignoring relationships, hobbies, or daily responsibilities. You might also experience short-term memory slips, or a cloudy mind after the act. It's crucial to protect your mental clarity and emotional balance. There's so much more available to you than an endless loop of release and regret. You can build a more solid foundation with simple, powerful tools. Simple steps for a sharper mind. Try mindfulness practices to reconnect with your breath. Step outside for a daily walk or explore Tai Chi to ease stress and tension. Channel your energy into painting, playing music, or even journaling. Meet new people, volunteer, or join a local club to rebuild your sense of belonging. And if you feel stuck, talking with a professional counselor can help you process grief, retirement changes, or other heavy emotions. These habits can break the cycle of relying only on sexual pleasure to soothe discomfort. They make room for more flexible, healthier ways to handle stress and disappointment. Emotional growth happens when you allow yourself to sit with difficult feelings instead of constantly running from them. Sexual pleasure is still yours to enjoy, but it deserves to be just one part of a wider, richer emotional life, not the only refuge you turn to. Hair today, gone tomorrow. The DHT connection. While cognitive impacts can creep in over time, the next concern reveals itself much faster. It affects how you see yourself in the mirror and how you carry confidence through each day. In my clinic, I met James. He never thought twice about losing a few strands of hair in the shower. At 73, he expected some thinning. His father went bald early, after all. But what alarmed him was how quickly the hair around his temples and crown started vanishing, in just 6 months. The soft, healthy texture he had grown used to turned coarse and fragile almost overnight. James came to me frustrated, confused, and embarrassed. He blamed aging and family genes, convinced there was nothing he could do. But I saw patterns that didn't match ordinary male pattern baldness. His hair loss advanced too quickly, suggesting another factor was quietly accelerating the damage. The hidden culprit: hormone surges in your hair. Through a careful consultation, we uncovered a surprising detail. James had become more sexually active in retirement, using self-pleasure as a daily stress reliever. On the surface, that seemed harmless. Yet, this habit triggered repeated hormone spikes, temporary boosts in testosterone, and more importantly, DHT, dihydrotestosterone. DHT acts like a silent saboteur in genetically vulnerable men. It binds to receptors in your hair follicles, gradually shrinking them. Over time, the follicles become so miniaturized, they simply stop growing hair altogether. Normally, this is a slow march, taking years to unfold. But with repeated, frequent hormone surges, that process speeds up, hitting your scalp harder and faster than you ever expected. If you're in the habit of daily masturbation, especially during retirement, you might be unintentionally fueling those hormonal swings. That doesn't mean you have to shut down your sexuality. It does mean you should see the bigger picture. Your genetics lay the groundwork, but your behaviors can push the accelerator. Taking control: your hair health action plan. James wanted a solution, not another lecture about fate. So, we built a practical plan together, step by step. If you find yourself in a similar spot, noticing your hair feels thinner after weeks of frequent sexual release, you can start with simple, effective changes right now. Try cutting down to every other day, or even less, to help stabilize your hormone swings. Keep a small journal and note how your hair reacts over a few weeks. You might be surprised by the difference. Next, talk with your doctor about medical options. Medications like finasteride can help block DHT, slowing down the hair follicle shrinkage that robs you of healthy strands. It's not magic, but it can buy time and preserve your confidence. Beyond meds: lifestyle for lush locks. Beyond medication, think about how your daily habits support or strain your hormones. Eat foods rich in zinc, biotin, and lean proteins. These help anchor your hair's strength at the cellular level. Stay active with steady, moderate exercise. Walking, gentle weight training, or even swimming keeps circulation high and reduces the stress hormone cortisol, which can also throw off your hormonal balance. Managing stress goes deeper than you might think. Emotional worries and chronic tension affect your entire hormone network, including testosterone and DHT. Techniques like breathing exercises, social activities, or hobbies you love can calm those stress signals, protecting your hair and restoring your energy. Remember, moderate masturbation isn't harmful by itself. You just need to find a rhythm that supports your health without tipping your hormones out of balance. Think of it as respecting your body's signals instead of ignoring them. By recognizing these signals, you stay in control rather than letting them control you. When James saw the connection between his sexual habits and his hair loss, it changed everything for him. He stopped seeing baldness as punishment and started seeing it as a clue. A clue that helped him balance his life, protect his confidence, and feel more at ease with himself. Your confidence in the bedroom, the real problem. While hair loss mostly affects how you look, the next challenge goes straight to the heart of your sexual well-being. And that risk can shake your confidence even more. Let's talk about it next, because what happens downstairs can change how you live every single day. Men often expect mild changes in their intimate abilities as they move through different stages of life. But what I'm about to reveal goes far beyond the usual wear and tear. The hidden truth is that repeated, intense self-stimulation can literally train your brain to demand a single, specific pattern of pleasure. And when that pattern changes, like when you try to connect with a new partner, your erection may not fully cooperate. Michael, age 66, knows this frustration all too well. After the end of a long marriage, he wanted to rediscover his sexuality, to feel alive again. But despite being deeply aroused, he realized his erections felt weaker, faded more quickly, and left him worrying he might fail in front of someone new. That kind of letdown chips away at a man's confidence and makes dating feel like stepping onto a battlefield with no armor. It's not just blood flow, your brain is key. Let's be clear, this issue isn't simply a drop in testosterone or sluggish blood flow. Of course, those play a role, but the real trouble sits in your brain. By constantly stimulating yourself in one predictable way, you hardwire your arousal to follow that specific route. When the setting or pace changes, like in real-world intimacy, the brain struggles to shift gears. Think of it this way, over time, your repeated habits create a deep groove in your nervous system. Each session of solo release makes that groove deeper. So, when you want to be intimate with another person, your arousal gets stuck in the old pattern and refuses to travel a different path. That's what doctors call weak erection quality, firmness that slips away, erections that need more intense or very specific triggers to stay strong, and a sense of disconnect that hits you right in the gut during partner sex. Many men report they perform fine alone, but the moment a partner comes into the picture, things collapse. That mismatch feels humiliating, and over time, it drains the desire for closeness altogether. You are not broken. Retraining your brain. But here's the absolute truth, you are not broken. You haven't failed. These changes are simply your brain adapting to repetition. And the good news is that your arousal pathways can recover by gradually retraining your sexual responses. You can break out of this trap. Let's go through a clear, step-by-step action plan you can put into practice starting today. Your step-by-step action plan for stronger erections. 1. Give yourself a break, 7 to 14 days away from any sexual activity, including masturbation. Think of this as a reset for your body's natural sexual wiring. That pause allows your nerves and brain circuits to regain their sensitivity and respond to fresh, more diverse stimulation. 2. Switch up the routine. When you return to sexual activity, use a lighter touch, explore different angles, and vary your pace. Breaking those old repetitive patterns helps retrain your mind and body to respond more flexibly, the way it does with a real partner. 3. Slow things down with mindfulness, pay attention to every sensation in your body. Let the experience unfold rather than racing toward climax. If you only chase fantasy or rush, you keep strengthening those narrow patterns that have worn down your arousal pathways. 4. Include partner-like stimulation, begin to include elements that mimic shared intimacy. You might use sounds, movements, or textures that mimic being with someone else. These small shifts help reconnect your arousal to a more realistic and fulfilling sexual style. 5. Change your focus. Instead of putting all the attention on orgasm, emphasize the pleasure of the entire experience, from arousal to connection to the sense of presence. Your sexual system can recover its full range of feeling and function when you give yourself permission to enjoy the whole journey, not just the finish line. The power of resilience. Your body can adapt. Now, let's highlight something crucial. The male body, even in the later decades of life, can adapt with stunning resilience. What feels stuck or broken is usually just a pattern that can be reshaped gently and patiently. Patience, compassion, openness to trying new approaches, and the belief that sex can absolutely improve with some thoughtful adjustments, these are the keys. Many of my patients who followed this approach have seen powerful changes: firmer, more dependable erections, new levels of confidence, and a deeper sense of closeness with their partners. Their experiences remind us that the body and mind can be reawakened, no matter how long they've stayed locked in the same routine. Here's one reason this problem slips under the radar: it creeps up over time. Weak erection quality tied to repeated solo stimulation doesn't slam into your life overnight. It inches forward until you suddenly feel distant from true connection or notice anxiety in the bedroom. Rebuilding the bridge to intimacy. Think of this like reinforcing a bridge. It may need some repairs, a little attention, and the right strategies. But when restored, it can carry you with even greater strength and confidence into satisfying, connected intimacy. Masturbation after 60 doesn't wear a label of good or bad. It's simply a tool. One that depends on how you choose to use it. That choice can strengthen your confidence or drain your sense of vitality over time. It deserves careful thought and awareness because your health and happiness still deserve protecting. Your best chapter is still ahead. This season of life isn't about giving up pleasure or cutting out what you enjoy. It's about handling things with more intention, more care, and more wisdom than ever before. You have the chance to shape a new chapter with greater satisfaction and deeper meaning. Your body still responds. Your desire still carries value. These aren't leftovers from your youth, they're living parts of you right now. A few small shifts in your habits can transform private moments from something that weighs you down to something that truly lifts you up. With a little focus, masturbation can become a source of energy and well-being rather than regret or frustration. If this conversation struck a chord, stay with me. I'll be sharing a simple, natural approach in an upcoming video that has already helped countless men regain a sense of strength, purpose, and sexual vitality. You might even feel a positive change as soon as tomorrow morning. Let's talk about it.